Hey, hello, this is Andreas from eSurfer here in front of our shop in Berlin, Germany. We made a video recently, what is an eFoil? These are the boards who are flying above water. Today we are talking about jetboards. We have different jetboards here from different companies such like Wakeboards, Radin and Lampuga. Like the eFoils, they have an electric motor, a battery which comes into the battery compartment, and of course a remote control to accelerate. And how these exactly work, I will explain you shortly. Okay, these electric surfboards are called jetboards. The reason why they are called jetboards is because most of them, almost all of them, have a jet engine. As far as I know, there was only one exception, a German board called watersports, which had a huge propeller underneath. But today, most of the companies are using a jet, and that's why they're called jetboards. As you can see on this jetboard, they have a pretty big battery compartment. And obviously, it's not only the battery compartment which is big, it is also the battery. This one, for example, this is in Dabi. Normally it's heavier, 37 kilogram. It's pretty big compared to an eFoil battery. That said, the range of a jetboard is usually between 30 and 55 minutes, depending on how you are riding and who is riding, compared to the eFoils, which do 1.5 to 2 hours if they have the right battery. Why is this? These jetboards just need a lot of more power. They are not flying above the water, they have a lot of resistance in the water, they need to push away the water, and this just needs a lot of energy. And this is why a jetboard, usually makes between 30 and 45, 55 minutes, and then you need to recharge the battery. These jetboards usually have a magnetic kill switch. This is for stopping the motor if you fall down. Yeah? Otherwise, if you wouldn't have this, the jetboard could go on for a while. And this is prohibiting this by stopping the motor right away. There are only very few eFoils who have this kind of kill switch magnet. The reason is an eFoil, once you crash, it will actually stop. But these jetboards, especially if they are fast, they can go for a couple of meters and you would need to swim. And in order not to swim too far, this is what the magnet is prohibiting. It's also a safety mechanism that you not by mistake actually start the engine when you're playing around with the remote control. It will only work if the magnet is inside. Okay, let's talk about the remote controls, also called hand controllers. You have hand controllers which are connected with a rope. This is easier for beginners, but also makes it easier to make tight turns, especially for beginners. Yeah? You can, however, take this off from the handle and just have it in your hand, like this one, for example, from Awake or from Radin. This from Awake actually has an LCD display. Yeah? You can even see the speed, how fast you are riding. Other remotes are a little bit more simple. They just have LEDs to show you what the battery charge is. But at the end of the day, it is just to accelerate your board. And you have things with trigger or with the thumb. These are both from Sweden. Looks like that the Swedish guys like to control it with the thumb, but it works both. Which jetboard should you choose? Well, this depends obviously on you. How do you want to ride? Where do you want to ride? How aggressive? What is your weight? You have large boards, yeah, like this one. This is huge. It's very easy to ride, even for kids. It's safe. You have aggressive boards like the Awake board. There's even a smaller one where they do backflips, yeah, behind the boat. This one uses foot straps, which gives you a lot of control. But on the other hand, you have to get in and so on. So it's much more difficult to ride. In general, you can say the larger the board, the easier it is to ride. The shorter the board, then it becomes more difficult. That's why this large board also has a rope here. It makes it easier for a beginner. There's no rope here because these guys want action. The body, this is a sub body. On the one hand, it's very comfortable, especially for boat owners. If it knocks against the boat, you don't have any damages. Here, you have to be a little bit more careful. Um on the other hand, this is very good for tight turns, and this sub body, because it's so rounded, is not so good for really tight turns. You can do it. There's a special technique, yeah, similar like a jet ski, but this is definitely the more sporty board, and this is more the take it easy board. What does a jetboard cost? We at eSurfer and generally also with the eFoils, we focus on premium brands. In the eFoil video, I explained exactly why. In short, we think there's a negative circle, cheaper components, more support cases, but not enough money to invest into support, and it gets worse and worse and worse. And this is what you can read in the forums. So we focus on premium boards. The prices, these are German prices, including VAT, is about 14,000 for the Lampuga. It can go up to 20,000 with the Awake board, and the Radin boards, they are somehow in between. So they are very similar, the prices, compared to eFoils. For cheaper boards, yes, obviously you can get them from China if you want to. I'm not sure if this will at the end of the day get more expensive. There were actually companies like Onion, a long-term player, very well known. They looked great, they were cheaper products, but they also had technical problems, and then finally they ran out of business. This is at least the latest information I have. So we focus on premium brands, and they are pricing wise around 15,000 euro, like in eFoil as well. Are electric surfboards allowed? And I'm now talking about eFoils and jetboards. In Germany, yeah, where we are based, in most of the areas they are allowed. You have to obviously look for the speed limits. You need a registration inside on lakes. If you go on the sea, you don't need it. There are exceptions in Germany, like in Bavaria on the lakes and on Lake Constance. This is because in Switzerland in generally, no boards are allowed. The only other country next to Switzerland I'm aware of is Canada, but Canada it is only for propeller-driven devices, so jetboards should be fine. But many of the eFoils, for example, have a propeller, and they are banned in Canada at this time. But there are more and more jets for eFoils, so this is a problem which you can overcome in Canada. So in general, I would say in most of the countries it's allowed. In some you need a registration, in the US as well. But you are allowed to ride, where you, for example, can ride boats or jet skis and so on. Okay, this was my short introduction into jetboards. I'm sure I forgot something, so please ask your questions in the comments or just visit our website. You can find our phone number and email address, and we will be happy to answer your questions. Or even better, come to one of our shops, either here in Berlin, or we have also other cities here in Germany, and we have partners in Spain, France, Italy, and more to come. So we find all our partners and outlets on our website. So I hope this was okay for you. Please ask your questions in the comments, and see you soon.